Hey guys, and welcome back to Get Into It, where we do just that. I'm Ambree.
And I'm Jordan. And today we are actually doing an episode that we kind of talked about in a previous episode, like just kind of brainstormed while we were recording, which is things that we loved / liked / enjoyed, because love is a very strong word. And I don't know if it will encompass everything we're going to say, but things that positive things or things that we enjoyed about living in the suburbs, in white suburbia. Let me specify that, because if you grew up in a Black suburb, I'm very envious of you. That was not our experience at all. So this is specifically in our white conservative suburbia in Georgia. So how are you today, Ambree?
I'm really good. This is going to be an interesting topic, because usually it's not that we want to harp on the negative, it's just that the negative is so negative. So
it's just so loud. It's like blinking, like screaming, negative.
So it's like, let's do a spin. Let's see. Should I start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. One of the things I liked about living in like white suburbia is that they know how to find some food places. I'm gonna be honest. They know how to
explain.
Because look, in white suburbia, what they tend to do is they for numerous reasons, they put more like upper end, I guess, restaurants, and like restaurants that are I guess cleaner, more well staffed, and things like that in the suburbs. So it's like your options are full. Even if it's not like super close, like walking distance, you'll be able to find it.
Because it's not gonna be. It's not gonna be walking
exactly.
distance.
So you'll find like artisanal stuff. You'll find like very niche stuff in the suburbs sometimes. Like especially if you have a different dietary choice, like if you're like a vegan or something like that, you most definitely will find a restaurant that either solely caters to you or has a menu that caters to you.
That's very true.
And if you're anywhere else, you're probably not gonna find that. You're probably not gonna find a place.
If you're in LA, obviously you're like,
that's a different.
But as far as like in the South, like, I mean, if you go to Atlanta, but it's not going to be like, you have to search for like the good vegan places and the good, like, unless you're going to Slutty Vegan, which is like really good. But other than that, you have to like look for it. You can stumble into a vegan restaurant down here and be like, oh, y'all don't, okay.
Right, like, oh. Okay. Yeah.
That's funny. Okay, let's see. One of the things that I said, oh, I had a list. I should have figured this out. I'm gonna do this. The up and down jump when a certain song comes on at a party that they do. I think Ambree literally started laughing at me. I think that is so funny, because like everyone in the room, if you've never been to a Caucasian person's party, when a song comes on, and you know what song it will be? Turned Down for What? It will be Turned Down for What?
They were in shackles, because
it doesn't matter what year it is, what decade we're in. Put on Turned Down for What at a mostly white function. This will happen. Everyone will get there, and they're like gearing up, right? And they're gearing up, and they're all like, they moving, and then he goes, turn down for, and everyone in that down, we are jumping up and down, like head bopping. Like, if you've ever heard like, oh, it's a rager, and you're like, what's a rager? Go to a white person's party where they're playing Turn Down for What. It will quickly turn into a rager. It is so funny, and like everyone just knew what to do, and I was like, okay. And then I started doing the jump with them, because like, who you finna be the only person not jumping? That thing is really good for your dopamine and like serotonin and like endorphins. That was great. I loved that.
Scientific.
Bringing like science words.
You know, that's interesting. They always do that, and I just thought it was the funniest thing, because like, as opposed to just like,
dancing,
being down here dancing, like they decided to jump. Which I guess if you can't dance, that's like okay.
But they always on beat. They are always on beat with that jump.
That's true. That's true. Well. But as a collective, they are. There's might be a few sparse individuals that.
And you'd be like, "What are you doing? We're all."
It's on one you're jumping onto. Like, what are we doing? But it's funny though, because they're like, it's fist pump, and it's like, it's like a whole thing. It's a whole ensemble, and you know it when you see it. Like it's literally so funny how consistent it is.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
I love that so much. But going off of that, like the party scene when you're in the white suburbs, it's like you can take this as a good or a bad thing. But if you're like somebody who enjoys attention, if you are a Black person at a party, they will
Yeah.
most definitely look at you to be like the cultural phenomenon. Like you are a dancer for the day. And I don't care if you're not
Yeah.
classically trained. I do not care if you don't, if you barely have rhythm. They will admire your dance moves regardless. Unless they're
Do
like
something stupid and people
just
are
do
like,
something stupid. They're like,
oh,
oh,
get
like
it, Jamal. Like, you're like, what is happening?
do it. Yeah. Like it doesn't even matter. Just have it kind of. Just do something. And they'll be like,
Yeah.
ooh, 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 ooh.
If you do it
Like,
with some sense of confidence, I bet you.
right. They're gonna try to what's it called? Imitate. Yeah. It's just like it's the funniest thing because you really don't have to try hard. Like you can like hit a stanky leg, like even in a bad way.
They be
And they
like,
be like, like what's that? What's that? What's that? What's that?
what is this cool dance that you're doing? It's circa 2000.
Right. It doesn't
Literally.
even matter. It doesn't even matter. So like if that's your speed, mm,
Oh, one thing I loved, and I did love this, was when I'd be one of two Black people in the room or one of like two people of color in the room, and something crazy happens,
oh yeah.
something crazy happens, and we just automatically find each other and give a
Yeah.
look. We didn't even have to acknowledge each other before the moment happened, but you look instinctively and your eyes just tell the whole story. And then you guys start laughing on opposite ends of the room and no one knows why you're laughing. I love that.
It really is something special. Even if you don't know that person, I find myself like doing that with people I just do not know.
I
Like
think that's when
it's
it's like,
uh,
I don't say if it's better because like if I see like when we were in theater and things happen, it'd be all like four of us just like, okay, that was funny because we were all together. But I think it's another element of funny when you don't even like you've never spoken to this person before a day in your life and y'all both already know what's up. I think that's hilarious.
it happens so often. Like it happens so often. But it's like it's not even a thing that I recognize that I do. Like
Right?
it's just something that I do. Cause I'm like, I know y'all saw this. I know we're all seeing this.
We're
Like,
seeing the same thing. I see you, you
cause
see
this
me.
is we see each other. Like it's literally so funny. And it happens so often, and especially in school. Like I remember it happening so much in school.
Yeah.
Not so much like in just like walking around in life because some people know about the look but some people don't want to give you the look if that makes sense. Like some people are a little bit nervous or they just don't want to
Be bold with your Blackness. Come on.
they just don't want to do it but like the look is just so iconic. I just and it's the same look. I don't change it up so you
No,
know
it's
what
the
I'm
same
doing.
every time
I'm
because
like,
I don't think it's something that we're consciously doing. It's like literally
right, it's my
instinctively, which
reaction.
is why it's the same one. And I
Hmm.
think it's just funny that all of our faces contort to the exact same expression
Like I
at the
can't even
same time.
it's weird, but I love it so much. Let me think. What else do I like? Um, you know what? Okay. I like when white moms would like bring their baked goods to
Yes.
whatever function.
Yes.
That is like so.
And I don't
Like
eat everyone's cooking, but baking is
it's
different.
exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Let me put this disclaimer. Do this if you know that person, kind of, sorta. Because if they have cats or they have dogs, be cautious.
Yo,
Because one thing that we know
listen.
that white people like to do is allow their cats in the kitchen, on the counter, their dogs to eat off the same spoon.
I have been there when it happened. I
Mm-mm.
went to someone's house for dinner. I gotta see how I can say this to where it's not too specific to where they know I'm talking about them.
It's so funny.
And they were cooking. No, they were putting things on plates. They were about to like bring it to the table. But we were all in there like helping, obviously. You're eating at someone's house. And the cat from the ground jumps up into the counter. And I was like, oh my God. Because like people are very protective of their pets. You don't want to just like grab
Right.
someone's animal because then you could be causing a problem, right?
Sure.
That cat put their face in the salad. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, I literally went, insert person's name here. And then they were like, oh, okay. So they grabbed their cat and they bring the bowl to the table. And
See?
people start. And so then
See?
that was the only like green thing. So it was the only technically vegetable there. And the mom was like, okay, y'all need to eat up because like I can't have your parents thinking I'm not feeding y'all vegetables. People put the salad on their plate. I did not. Because I was watching everything because I was there early. So I was watching everything how it was prepared. And I just ate the stuff that didn't have any contact with the cat, no cross-contamination with the spoons. Like they ate the salad. Couldn't be me.
I can't. See that though the baked goods are like in like weird flavors that like how did you even come up with this?
But
But
they're
still,
good. They're
they're
always
good
so
though.
good.
The weird ones are
Was
because
it,
you
when
never
did you
find it
get
anywhere else.
them? I would usually get them. There was a mom, they moved a while ago, but at the beginning of school, the first day of school, the end of school, or any breaks, that she
Right.
would bring it to the bus stop and we'd all like get
Oh,
cookies. She made these really good cookies.
that's sweet.
Her kids were in like kindergarten. I was in 5th grade and I was munching on cookies.
I would get them at like functions. So
Oh,
like the moms that were like super active in the kids' lives.
oh, the
Yeah, those are the good
PTA.
ones. PTAs. The PTA soccer moms. Ooh, they're bringing the heat when it comes to baking.
Because I feel
Every
like it's like
time.
a competition. Like, I need to be better than Sarah Beth this week. I need to really like get
They
it
really do.
together.
You can tell the competition's in the taste. Miss Mary Beth really putting her elbows in it.
And I'm benefiting. I don't
I'm
care.
benefiting greatly. But yeah, be cautious though, because not every time. Not every time. I have to watch. I have to be very careful because not even just like with pets. Some people just don't have good like cooking
Hygiene.
practices. Yeah, like. So it's not for everybody. So that has a little like on the side. So don't take that full.
Yeah. Tread lightly.
Tread lightly, yeah.
Seeing firsthand, and you kind of alluded to this, which is why I was like going to talk about it. Seeing firsthand the differences in cultures, and not cultures in terms of like, oh, like Western and East, like things that are prevalent in the Black community and things that were prevalent in what we saw the white. It's weird to call it a white community because whatever, but the white people around us. And some things I have dress codes for like when you're going to places. Yeah. It's very interesting because very different. So, conservative suburb in the Bible Belt, people go to church. Yeah. The things that they wear to church are very, very different than what is worn in traditional Black church. If you go to a multiracial church, it's not about you. But if you go to a Black church, traditional Black church, there's a Sunday best. Like you can't come in jeans, you can't come in sneakers, you can't come in like with hoodies on. Like there's a dress code. Like, and if you come in looking in jeans or any of those things, people will talk about you. Exactly. Like, they will look at you and talk at you, and the
congregation gonna be on you. Your name's gonna be clean out their mouth.
Everyone. But and going into these churches here, it's really the definition of come as you are. So if you want to take that up with what you mean, but like it was just it's very interesting. Like we went to like some functions. We were like, we were going to a school banquet for my brother. Banquet. What are you thinking when you hear banquet? Now it's obviously not black tie. We're in middle school, but you think like you need to put on something.
Right, something nice. Slacks.
People were in basketball shorts and like t-shirts that they went to school in, and I'm like, this is a banquet. What are you doing? And so it's just a difference in like what folks are wearing. I was really shook by that. That was just one thing in terms of the difference in culture. Do you have anything in terms of the
there's a lot in difference in culture. There's so much. But in terms of like dressing, that's for sure something I noticed. That like with Black and brown people, honestly, I'll expand. I feel like there's a lot. I would say in terms of like fashion choices and making distinct choices, it's about drip with Black and brown people. And if you don't know what drip means specifically, it's about like brands. Like if you're a Nike person, you're wearing all Nike. Like if you're
not mixing with Adidas.
You're not mixing because it's specific. Like it's specific. So like your drip is very much like important to you, and that's how you express fashion, or at least that's how I see Black people, specifically in suburbia, express fashion a lot of the time. But with white people, they're just kind of like they'll have designer brands, like they'll have designer brands. Like don't get me wrong, but it's more like I'm not gonna say they don't have fashion because they do. Like there's people who are showing up to show out all the time, but it's a different type of like
the attention to detail is
right. Attention to detail
different.
is different. It's hard to explain. They're like more driven by an aesthetic, while I noticed Black and brown people are driven by brands and then being in that brand. Like, and it's not to say that Black people don't do aesthetics, because I've seen quite a few. But I just what I've seen, like, especially with guys, actually, like with guys, like they're full.
Yeah, they're gonna be dripped
brand,
out for sure.
Dripped out, yeah, which is slightly different than just like having a good fit. It's slightly different, but I don't know.
Yeah, because you gotta make sure a lot. Like, not only do your colors have to be cohesive, it's the brands that have to be cohesive.
Right?
From like your shirt to your shoes to your socks to your pants, like it has to be
very specific about that. So yeah. That was interesting. Let me see what other like cultural differences.
Yeah.
Let's see. There's so many. It's just not
one I have was, and this might just be my family that didn't do this, but how normalized and accepting dating at very early ages was. And have you noticed that? Because like something that was common for me, like we'd be 5th grade, 6th grade, people are like, I have a boyfriend and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like no one has, like, what are you doing?
Is when they're like, me and my parents, they took us to a date. I was like,
they took us to the, or when they're like, me and my boyfriend, 6th, 7th grade, are going on vacation together with my family. He's coming with us.
Right. That would blow my mind. My little 5th grade mind. I was like,
it's blowing my 18-year-old mind. I'm like, they did what?
They took you on a vacation juntos together?
Your parent, your dad was there too, and your mom was there too. Wow.
Whoa. That
like,
never. Literally never.
My mind. I would be nervous. Like it would be a whole procedure to ask, like, Ambree, if I was going on vacation in my big age of when I met you in 10th grade, for me to be like, Ambree, can Ambree come on vacation with us? One for my parents to be like, yes. And then one for her parents to also be like, yes. So the fact that we're the same gender and we're both like, well, like we're not romantically involved. So when people were like, this is my boyfriend and he's coming to where did they always go? PCB. What is that? Panama City. Panama City Beach. Gosh. And they'd be like, me and my boyfriend are going together with my parents. I'm like, what is happening? This would never happen to me. Nor do I think I want it to happen to me in 7th grade.
No, it was something serious. Because there's literally I have never ever heard of Black parents letting you go with your date or whatever anywhere.
Like your family
vacation. Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine the face that my mom and dad would make if I was like, here is my boyfriend, Tyler. Can Tyler go with us as 10th graders? Can we both go to whatever vacation we're going on? They would look at me so stupid. Like so
I think my parents would pull me out of school and put me somewhere. Right. I don't know. They'd be like, have you lost your mind?
Oh my gosh. Oh, it's actually really funny the thought.
Well, like when I was thinking about this topic, I was like, that whole going on vacation thing, that was really,
no, that's a good point.
That was crazy. Like it's one thing to be dating someone and like your parents take you to like the movies and drop you off. Yeah, I'm like, okay, whatever. But they were like going on whole vacations together. Like had to like either sit in a road trip. Can you imagine being in a car on a road trip with your family and your significant other at the age of 13?
I literally don't even know the idea. Gosh. Because it wouldn't.
I'd pass away in the car.
No, it literally wouldn't be fine. The way that this family is built, it would be a whole situation all of the time. Something would be wrong. So no.
And I wouldn't want to subject anyone else to that.
Exactly. I wouldn't want to put them in that situation. Like that seems like a really bad. That's torture, inhumane torture. If I were to do that anyway.
Do I even like you at this point? If I'm letting
you. Oh God. Wow, that was good. But honestly, piggybacking off of that, one thing about where we grew up, they have very specific like excursions. I always say this. So the thing about the suburbs or white people in general, they have excursions. They go like if you don't know what to do in a given place and you're in the suburbs, just ask like a person. They will tell you the most random, very niche spot to do anything. Like, I have never in my life. They go to like rock climbing places on a Thursday afternoon just to do it. Cause it's
Yeah.
like it's so funny. Them organizing to like hang out. They always have like, it's not an itinerary per se, but they always have a very specific place that they
Yeah.
go that it's like unique in some sense. Cause
We're
like
going paintballing.
we're going
Where did
paint
you
and it's like
find this?
like how did we
And
get
I
here?
want to go.
How did we get here? But it's so cool to me.
Yeah.
It is so cool. And with Black Oak, I love y'all. But what we tend to do, we like, let's have a kickback. Oh, let's do this. We
Yeah,
don't
which
really
is
do
nice.
excursions, which is nice, but like we don't do excursions. Like there's not a person that's like per se. Like a person that's like, let's go kayaking on a Wednesday evening. Like doesn't really happen. For them, they're like, let's go skydiving
Let's go
next
whitewater
Tuesday.
rafting. I didn't
And
know what that was. I
right,
still don't really know
exactly.
what that is.
They have the place, they have the tickets down, they have everybody's RSVP if it's
We
like
have
that.
season passes. Come with us.
Right. They have everything on deck, literally where it needs to be. And that is so funny to
We'll
me.
pick you up.
It's dope. It's dope though, because they'll like introduce you to places or they'll tell you about a
Yeah.
place that you would never even think to look up. Cause it's like
Yeah. I
it's
think
very specific to the suburbs. But
the
yeah.
things that the excursions that I've gone on with Black people a lot of times have been like go-karting. Like that's about like going to, and it's not like going to a go-kart place unless it's one place I'm thinking of, but like it'd be, let's go to, what place has it? Dave and Buster's, or let's go to Stars and Strikes and that type of thing. And you can do a bunch of stuff there.
Right.
The people that we grew up around will be like, okay, so we're going to go to North Georgia and we're going to, and you'd be like, how am I going to, like, I was trying to, I was about to say their name. One of my friends wanted, it's not bad. One of my friends wanted to take me somewhere naturey in the wilderness, whatever. And I had to like ask my parents, could I go? And they were like, what are y'all finna do up there? And I was like, what one does
in the woods.
In the woods. Like it wasn't camping or anything, but like what one does by like waterfalls and stuff. Like they were like, why are you trying to go? And I was like, I couldn't, I bet it sounded sketch, but it really wasn't. But I just didn't know, like it's just so foreign to like be like, we're gonna go
to
drive 2 hours.
Exactly, to a very specific spot. I don't know why with Black parents, especially if you're like bouncing your events off of your back, against your Black parents, like trying to get them to approve of it, whatever. Like you have to do a lot of convincing a lot of times. So and it's like if you say that you want to go whitewater rafting, they're gonna be like, wow,
what's the definition?
Why? What are safety measures or whatever. They're gonna interrogate.
And I understand. I think as I got older, I understand that more, especially because like learning about sundown towns and like all this other stuff, or just like, get out. There's some real, and like, like you've heard stories about Black people going into woods with
never coming.
And so just like that type of safety stuff. And so
it's valid, but it's still
valid,
like
but it was like
of being a Black kid in the suburbs trying to do anything anywhere. But it makes sense, but still, like I can't imagine. It's so funny, and they have it down pat. I have yet to see like their plans fail. Like they'll be
I've never seen it fall through,
and like they'll be there. Like you'll see it on Instagram the next week. It, like never falls through. I don't know why. And there'll be a bunch of them too. It's not even like
it's not just one or two. It's like
10, 12, and they're all doing it.
But they also are good discount finders, like group, because they'll be like, oh, I got this on a Groupon. That's probably why it's a lot of people like, oh, I got this on a Groupon, so let's all go.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. One thing that I loved was being somewhere and people will burst out into a country song. This is very specific to me. I was in chemistry class, and I don't know if I told that story here, but I told you, I was in chemistry class, and my teacher was like, you can't play music in here unless it's country. Okay. So they start playing country music on a speaker. And this song, I think it's called Country Road. And at the what?
I think I know that.
Yeah. Yes, I bet you do. I was talking to someone. And I was like, because the song started playing, and I was like, what is this? Blah, 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 blah. Because I just have never heard the song. It was not a bad song. I just was like laughing, like she doesn't accept any music in here, but this song. Okay. And she's laughing with me. And then the chorus comes, and I'm like Snapchatting this, like videoing it. And all I hear is people going, West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. And I look back, and my friend is singing it too. The same friend that was clowning everyone with me. I was like, what is happening? I was the only person in the room who did not know that song. And I thought it was the funniest thing ever. So then I posted on Snapchat, and my other friend, he came up to me and he was like, why are you trying to trash on Country Road, Jordan? What do you mean you don't know this song? Blah, blah, blah. And I like could not contain my laughter. I was like, it's just like this. There's certain things that, like, if you go to a Black function, 95% of the Black people will know. So being in a experience where I did not know something because I was in a white space and all of them knew, it's kind of like when you hear Sweet Caroline for the first time.
Oh, no, say they love that song. They love that. Oh my gosh, they love. It's a good song.
It's a good song. Like, all these are, like, they're not bad songs. None of these songs I'm saying are bad songs.
But it's just so funny how consistent. Yeah, it's so how consistent their reactions are, which is like, it's cute, but it's like it's funny. Sweet Caroline.
Bah, bah, bah. I was at a basketball game when they played Sweet Caroline, and the whole stadium was like, bah, bah, bah. And my dad was doing it too. And I was like, how do you know the song? And he had been going to the games, and my mom was sitting there. She was like, this is not the type of music you play at basketball games. Where's the hip hop? Where is the? And she just started listening up. I was like, Mom, we in a different area. We in a different space now.
That and Bohemian Rhapsody. Oh my gosh. That's a good song too.
It's a great song. It's a great song. I didn't know about it until 7th or 8th grade because we played it in band class, and the people around me were shocked that I had never heard of that song before. And I was like, it's not something that's ingrained in like Black culture. Bohemian Rhapsody. Yeah.
Maybe it should.
I think it should.
I don't know. It's a good song. But let me see if I can think of anything else.
That was actually on my list. The songs that I heard. No, just songs that I've heard. That I wouldn't hear at home.
That's very true. It does like open your horizons, I guess, outside of what your parents, which is like, at least for me, my parents were like late 90s, late 90s and then later, like 70s, 60s, Black music. My dad, his taste in music is a bit more expensive than my mom because she's gospel. But
so is my mom, literally.
So I'll hear like, white people ditties, or like what they're called white people ditties, but it's for everybody. Occasionally, but like there's certain songs that will be played a lot in the suburbs that you just wouldn't be exposed to anywhere else. So yeah, it made me get some new songs,
right? And appreciate other artists and other types of music. Yeah.
To look outward. Let's see. You know what? Okay. I always choose the ones where I have to put like a little like caution. But
go ahead.
I like when they're like curious about my culture. I think it's so, especially the ones that approach me kindly, like treating me like I'm a human being and asking questions with my consent, like my verbal consent. I love that. It's the cutest thing ever when they're like, they're like referencing my hair, maybe I have it braided, and they're like, oh, that's so cute. Like, how long did it take? Are you willing to like tell me how much it cost? Like, things like that. Because like, if you're willing to be educated on something, I think that's a great first step. But it's an even better step when you're doing that with that person's consent, or you're doing that being very aware that I'm a person with feelings, and you're not antagonizing me by doing like a question that is like charged. Being like, oh, I heard y'all people don't wash your hair every week. That's not a good way to ask me a question. Don't do it that way. Like,
Don't
don't
do it
do it
that
that
way.
way. Don't do it that way. Choose something else. Like, formulate your questions so that, they're accounting for the fact that I have feelings and emotions. And when you do, you're going to get a more, like, enthusiastic answer,
Yeah.
honestly. And you're going to get an answer that's more detailed. Because if you ask me something that's charged, I'm just going to be like, either no, or I'm just going to be like, maybe like a flat answer if I'm feeling generous that day. But I love when people do that though, especially white
Yeah.
people, because they usually don't have a frame of reference. So their questions have to clearly come from nowhere. Like they're just
Yeah.
kind of like,
Yeah.
they're just so curious that most people like in the suburbs that I met hadn't really had that many interactions with Black people, obviously. And some of them would tell me that.
Yeah.
Um,
I was very surprised by how upfront some people were. They're like, you're like the first Black person I've been friends with. And I'm like, oh,
really interacted with, and they'll be honest and they'll be truthful about the things that they do not know. And yeah, I like that because I love educating people when I feel like it, I love doing it because I want you to learn.
I
Because the
think it's
worst,
a,
yeah,
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
no. I think the worst thing they could do is like ask people outside of the culture. So I'm glad that they're
Yeah,
asking
that's
you.
true.
So,
I was
yeah.
gonna say, I'm fine with educating people when you know that that's not my responsibility. Like, if
Right.
you're my friend and you're like, because I mean, like, there's really nothing that I can tell you that you can't find somewhere with the Google search, with reading a book, going to the library. So, but like, it's, when they come to you without the expectation of like, you have to, this is your job, but like, they're like,
Right.
hey, I was just
Right.
curious, because some people will literally be just like, you'll be living your life and they'll be like, so George Floyd, what do you think about that? And you'll be
Right. Right.
like I had a teacher who was literally like, so reparations. And I was like, to whom? Like, what are you talking about? Like, the bell has rung, why are you talking? And he said, what are your thoughts? How do you think we should divvy up reparations? And it feels like a gotcha, or it feels like a,
Definitely that.
it feels
Definitely that.
weird. Like, you can tell when something's genuine or when someone's
Yeah.
trying to use what you say in reference to other things, like other conversations that they'll have later, and be like, well, I heard a
Same.
Black person say that they blah,
Mm-hmm.
blah, blah, blah. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
yo,
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
living
not
my
your
life.
source to cite. I'm not a source
Yeah.
to cite. I'm trying to give you what I know.
And
And
it's personal to
it's
me.
personal to me. Exactly. If you ask
Yeah.
a Black person the DMV how they live their life is going to be different than how me as a Black person who was raised in the South lives my life.
Very,
Just as it's
yeah.
going to be different for the Black girl who's across the street as it is to me. Like we're different people with different experiences, regardless of like where we grew up or whatever. Our
Yeah.
Blackness, but with Blackness, there's of course some like things that are probably going to be repetitive because of our circumstances or like the way
Right.
that we live our life. So that's it though, because it's tailored to the family. It's tailored to so many other like circumstances or whatever. So just if you keep that in mind and you're nice, I'm fully willing to answer when I feel like it. Because you can't just be, I'm not, if I'm in a Starbucks line, please don't ask me questions that are in depth, even
Yeah.
if you're coming at me kindly. Like it has to be a rapport that we've built
You gotta read
with
the
each
room.
other. Yeah, for me to be
Yeah.
able to be comfortable to give you these things. Because in fairness, there's times where you would say something about your culture, and then maybe a day after, or even a few hours, a few minutes, they'll say something that's a joke that was too far, or they'll like take your culture and then manipulate it in a different conversation or in another way to like make fun of it. And that's like the worst feeling ever. So if you're a non-Black person, I'm gonna say non-Black. If you're a non-Black
Yeah.
person who wants to know anything about like a Black person, and you have a Black friend and you want to ask them, come at them kindly and be careful with the information that they give you, because it's like sometimes it's a
Yeah.
very vulnerable position to be in when you're asked to explain your culture.
Yeah. I think it's also because like there are so many things in our society that are like drenched with racism. Like, people are like, why you got to bring race into everything? Because everything has roots in racism. Like,
Right.
about almost everything in America. I'm gonna say America. I've only lived in America, but almost everything here is rooted in someone's oppression. Somewhat. So like, something that might be simple to you could have hundreds of years of
Right.
oppression and stuff like
It's-
that, and
right.
trauma. There's a lot of trauma involved in a lot of stuff that we do, that we know, that we're
Mhm.
conscious of and unconscious
Mhm.
of. So, maybe treat them how you would want to be treated.
Treated. But honestly, I can't even say that because they don't have
Well,
a
true, because some
frame of
people are like, I don't
reference.
care. But like
Right.
but you know how you would want to be approached on your worst day. On your worst
Yeah.
day, you know how you want someone, and on your best day, So just like whenever I'm talking to someone, regardless of race, I'm coming at it like, okay, they could be experiencing hell today. Let me just be.
Yeah. Best foot forward, I guess. Yeah.
Do you have anything that's more upbeat that we can end on?
Um,
I don't know if I have anything.
I'm gonna say this. I am grateful for the resources I was provided given my
Yeah.
school district. Um, you know, not to go on a tangent, but
No, go ahead.
the circumstances of school districts are built off of taxes of the people who were there. So if I was in a better socioeconomic standing, so I was able to go to a school district that had resources because of the population that was there. So I have to be grateful for that circumstance because of the wealth that was around me. I was able to, join the arts. I was able to
Yeah.
fund, uh, leadership programs and things like that. I was able to join clubs that I knew were not going to be in existence in places that didn't have um, people constantly supplying money to these school districts. So it's like, though it came with some issues, being like very, very few Black people there and
And
kind of
issues
like,
within the system itself.
yeah, and yes, and filling cultural deficits, it came with a surplus of opportunities that I know would
Yeah.
not have been there if I were anywhere else. So I'm grateful to that. I have to be.
Yeah.
It's unfair if I was to be like, it's all bad,
Because it's literally not.
because it's not. These are
Yeah.
things that we have as being Jordan, like anybody else who ever grew up in the suburbs as a person of color, I'll say, you know that there's things that you probably dealt with that is going to stick with you, but you know that you had opportunities that were not present for some people in your community, for other people in your community. Um, and
The
yeah,
access is crazy though,
access is
because
crazy.
like, you're going to school with people who are, it's not all of them, but some of them are beneficiaries of generational wealth, to not like Elon Musk generate, but like some
Yeah.
form of generational wealth. And because of that, like,
Mm-hmm.
even just like being able to see how some people live,
Yeah.
that is like, it's hard to know that you can achieve something that you don't know exists. So when you're
Exactly.
able to see people living on like golf courses, like golf resort type, like that,
Mhm.
that does something to like your definition of what's achievable, whether you want to
Exactly.
achieve that or not.
Mhm.
And like, there are so many problems within the school systems and stuff in our
Sure.
district specifically, but, and I think this is also a credit to our parents, we have the knowledge and the resources to be able to know those, like know the
Mhm.
problems within there. Because
Yeah.
like, again, if you are not privy to the issues where you are, like, there's a lot of things that you're going to miss. But we've caught them. We see them. um and it's a sick and twisted privilege in that as well. um and then there's just also like, and I always say this, I don't think that I would have, I'm grateful to have grown up in this area, because the knowledge that I have just in terms of like people and politics and the way that politics plays a role in everything, you don't really have that in other places. And yeah, trauma sucks. There's problems everywhere. You
Yeah.
can't really weigh your problems against other people's,
Yeah.
but I feel like this has given me tools that can equip me to live somewhere else. Like I can choose to live in a fully Black or a predominantly person of color suburb and have a really different types of appreciation for that than someone who didn't. And I can learn about that and be aware of that. And I think that that's cool. And also the understanding I have just in terms of like white people and like navigating white spaces, I'm really grateful for, because most of the spaces that we're going to encounter are majority white, unless you create them. And it's a skill. It's a skill that some people have to learn quickly later on in their life, where we had like I've had 18 years to learn that. Yeah, that's okay. So I think that's our episode. Yeah. This was actually really fun. We should come up with more episode ideas while we're recording, because this was actually really good. Right. Thank you all so much for listening. If you grew up in a similar position and you want to share some of the things that you, I'm going to say loved, but you understand that that's not the right word, that you appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate it about growing up in white suburbia. Please let us know. You can message us on our Anchor, which is in the description of this episode. Leave us a message on our Instagram at getintoit_podcast. I love saying that. Or if you're watching the visual podcast on our YouTube, you can leave it in the comments there. Ambree, do you have anything else you want to say?
No.
Yeah, no. All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye.